The verse of the day is Proverbs 17:22, and it says, "A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit saps a person's strength." Y'all, today's verse is so good. God gave me revelation about this verse a few years ago, and it's linked to having a grateful heart. I remember I was living with my mom at the time. Shouts out. Love you, Mom. And this was a couple years ago. I was 28, and I was really wanting to find my own place. I was just itching to finally get my own spot again. And anytime anyone would ask me, "What's up? What's new? How you doing?" my immediate lens that I would speak through was, "I'm good. I'm just, I'm really trying to find my own place." And it would always be focused on what I think I need rather than what I had. And God was like, "Wake up. It's a blessing that you get to live with your mom right now because you get to work on your relationship and you're saving money. And it's just a blessing. Look at it as a blessing instead of what you need instead. It's a good thing to have dreams and, okay, I feel like this is my next step. But if it's stealing from your everyday, then it's worth taking a look at and being like, okay, why am I allowing this to steal my joy every day? Why is this the main thing I'm talking about as if my life isn't good enough right now?" And I think so often we fall into that category with a lot of things. We think we need to talk about the things that we're needing or we're supposed to strive for rather than what do we have? What is beautiful in your life right now? Where does God have you right now? And focusing on that actually births a joyful spirit because it reminds you of what you do have and you're not focusing as much on what you don't have. It says, "A cheerful heart is good medicine." Some other translations say the word joyful, which I prefer because that's one of the fruit of the spirit. And cheerful could go in the same category as joyful. But when you think about joy being good medicine, joy is connected to having thankfulness, gratefulness, appreciating what is. And so I believe wholeheartedly that the key to this verse, of course, is Jesus bearing the fruit of his spirit. But when we have Jesus and we can tap into his spirit, we need to focus on his spirit, focus on what he's doing, focus on where he has me. Because if I'm following Jesus and he has me in a certain situation with certain things, my life as it is today is intentional and was from him. So if I can look at it through a lens of, God, you are enough. God, I trust you with my life and with my heart. I may think I need certain things, but you have me here. Thank you for where you have me. Thank you for a roof over my head. Thank you that I can eat 3 meals a day. Thank you that I can drive a car. Thank you for my health. Thank you that I can sit in my bed and journal with you. There's so much to be thankful for. And when we speak those things over us and remind ourselves of those things and remind ourselves that we have the Spirit of Jesus living in us, which births all of those things, we're able to have a joyful heart that comes from the inside out. Whereas ungratefulness comes from the outside in. You're trying to find joy on the outside through what you don't have, what you think you need. And you might get it and it still won't fulfill that part in your heart that thinks you need that. It just goes on to a new thing. It goes on to the next thing. What more do I not have? What more do I need? Instead of what do I have? God, thank you for what I have and where you have me. The second part of this verse says, "A broken spirit saps a person's strength." That is so true. And also connects to the ungrateful heart posture. I think so often we can say, "I'm not ungrateful. I love my life." But what do your thoughts tell you? Do your thoughts constantly tell you you're lacking, that you don't have enough, that you need to be here? Because that by default is ungratefulness. It's not being grateful for what you do have, who you are today, what God is doing in your life today, right now. And when we focus on that, it births joy. But when we focus on the lack, it causes a broken spirit and it saps our strength. I remember when I was living with my mom at that time during this revelation that I got, I had no motivation, no energy. I was so just blah in my body and feeling like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't feel like it. I didn't have the right perspective. My joy was robbed from me because I was telling myself that my life wasn't enough. What happens when you start to remind yourself of everything you have and you have Jesus, which means you're not lacking one good thing, your energy comes back. You actually get motivation again because there's something that happens in your body and in your heart when you tell yourself you're not lacking anything. You have everything that you need. That makes you feel like, oh yeah, my life is beautiful. Let me enjoy my life and live my life and take advantage of the life that I have to live. Every time that I've fallen into depression, it's because I felt stuck in an area of my life. I've communicated to myself that my life isn't good enough and I feel stuck here, and I'm seeing evidence that I'll be stuck here, so I'm depressed because my life is always going to be like this. That's the way your brain will go. But when you get out of that perspective and you remind yourself that with Jesus, anything is possible, you're not stuck. That's not how God talks. That's how the enemy talks. He wants you to think you're stuck so that you think that you're lacking, and then you get discouraged, and then your joy gets stolen from you, because comparison is the thief of joy. And when you're seeing other people live their life and have things that you don't have, comparison steals your joy. But when you remind yourself that God has you in a unique spot for you, you don't get to compare. God isn't doing the same thing in any person, and it's intentional where he has you. There's a lesson where he has you. There's character development where he has you. So when we remember that you're never stuck with Jesus, there's always hope for change, and being patient, being like, Lord, I trust you here. Help me to enjoy here, to take full advantage of my life here. I'm not lacking one good thing, and your energy is going to shift. There's something that happens when you break off the ungratefulness or the perspective that you're lacking or you don't have enough, because you have access to the King of the world with an unlimited supply. And just like we talked about yesterday with our motives, God tests our motives. When we don't have the right motive, he delays because he doesn't want to give us things when we don't have the right heart for it, because that would not be kind. That would be him letting us run on this hamster wheel of always wanting more, but our heart never changing. And so when he can get us to focus on dealing with our motives, dealing with our heart with him, and getting to a place of, Lord, I'm not lacking one good thing because I have you. Lord, thank you for what I have. You are now going to gain the heart posture for the things that he wants to give you, because those things aren't going to be the thing that carries you. Jesus is enough. Every day you wake up and you're grateful because you have everything you need, because God has you here for a reason. So when he gives you more, it's a blessing, but it's not the thing you root yourself in. It's not the thing that tells you your life is good enough, because Jesus tells you your life is good enough, because he thought you needed to be born for a reason. Our perspective reveals our heart posture. So if your heart is feeling broken, if your spirit is feeling broken, a lot of times it has to do with your perspective. And the good news about that is God can change your perspective, rewire your mind. The amount of times I've prayed, Lord, give me your perspective, shift my perspective to align with yours. Help me to think the way you do about my situation. Help me to think the way you do about who I am, about who you are, about the people in my life. And sometimes it's just getting recalibrated to the person of love. I would encourage you guys to take an assessment. Okay, what part of my life do I think is lacking, and how can I see it instead as a blessing? How can I rewrite the narrative that I'm telling myself and trust God with that thing, because he has you here for a reason? Okay?